Welcome. I'm Doug Morgan, and you're listening to Uncommon Sense, where we hunt for the truth in the topics you're not supposed to talk about, Christianity and politics. And you've made it to Friday, and it's FOMO Friday here on the podcast. We bring you every Friday the stories of the week that you should probably know a little bit about. We bring you a little bit about them, and we want you to know what's going on because you're not listening to propaganda media anymore, and you need to know what's going on both here in the U.S. and around the world. We have stories from both this week, but we start out this week with a story by Kristen Parks from Fox News. She says a Colorado high school student who challenged her school's ban on religious designs for senior parking spaces will now be allowed to repaint her space to reflect her Christian faith. That's great news, is it not? In August, Sophia Shoemaker, a senior at Rampart High School in Colorado Springs, Academy School District 20, requested permission to decorate her paid parking space. Okay, it was a paid parking space with a design illustrating Jesus' parable of the lost sheep. Well, the school has a tradition of allowing seniors to reserve and pay for their own parking space and decorate it with school-approved artwork. Shoemaker's design featured a shepherd, a staff, and sheep, along with a reference to the Bible verse 1 Corinthians 13:4. But school administrators rejected it, citing a district policy, love the policy thing, right? Prohibiting religious imagery. Yeah, we can't have that. Shoemaker said she was forced to choose a different design, which she found deeply disappointing given the importance of her faith. She said, I was honestly upset just because other people were getting to express themselves how they wanted, and Christianity is my whole identity, is my whole identity, and I just really wanted to express that, she told Fox News. After the assassination of Turning Point USA co-founder Charlie Kirk in September, Shoemaker said she was inspired to take a stand. And she said, I had been watching Charlie Kirk for like as long as I can remember. And he's been the one that really influenced my religion and speaking out about what's right and stuff like that. So he was really big on my heart throughout this whole process. Well, Shoemaker sought help from First Liberty Institute. It's a Texas-based legal organization that defends religious freedom. And the group sent a demand letter to the district arguing that the policy violated students' First Amendment rights, which, I mean, it obviously does, right? The letter said that several schools within the same district allow symbols like crosses and other Christian references in parking space designs. Quote, the district's inconsistent policies demonstrate that the seniors' message on the parking spot in Academy School District 20, including those at Rampart, are private speech, not government speech. First Liberty wrote in a letter to Superintendent Jinger Haberber, I guess is how you pronounce that. That's a tough one. And Principal Megan Sanders, that's easier, on October 22nd. They wrote, therefore, the district cannot deny Miss Shoemaker's private religious speech without violating the First Amendment. First Liberty demanded that the district rescind what it called an unconstitutional policy and allow Shoemaker to repaint her parking space with her original Christian design. And on Tuesday, First Liberty announced that the district had agreed to change its policy and would allow Shoemaker to repaint her space. Quote, the First Amendment protects students' private expression of faith in public schools. That's what Keisha Russell, the senior counsel for First Liberty Institute, said. She said, we are encouraged that the school district will now allow students like Sophia to update their decorated spaces with religious themes from for the remainder of the year, and we hope that it will make such a policy permanent so future students can enjoy the same opportunities. Academy School District 20 confirmed to Fox News that the policy would be changed going forward to keep things clear and fair for all students, and seniors would be allowed to repaint spaces upon request. For the remainder of the school year, schools will allow artwork based on a student's viewpoint around topics such as religion, as long as the designs follow other guidelines, such as not displaying offensive or rude language or reference to drugs, weapons, or gangs. The district said this in a statement. And Russell said that she hopes Shoemaker's case encourages other young people to stand up for their beliefs. She said it really shows other young people around the country how important it is to stick up for what they believe in, is what Russell told Fox News. And it said, and I just want to encourage all young people to do the same. Now, in August, the high school senior in New York also successfully fought her school's policy against religious designs on senior parking lot spaces as well. So again, starting off with some great news here. That's very good news. It was definitely a situation where their policy was unconstitutional. It went against their First Amendment right. Now, I could see if this was a teacher that was painting her space, but it wasn't. This was a student. Has the right. All students really have the right to their religious beliefs in school. And in this case, this was definitely trampling upon it, and away it goes. So that's really cool. Now, switching from the United States though to Finland, well, we'll see what's going on there. Do you agree with the Apostle Paul? Well, that was the question police asked Finnish parliamentarian, and I'm gonna really slaughter this name, but it's Pavi Rosanen. I believe Rosanen's actually how you pronounce it, so we'll see. But anyway, they repeatedly over the course of 13 hours of interrogation over a social media post that she made featuring a Bible verse. So she gets asked, "Do you agree with Apostle Paul?" I'd love to answer that question, but anyway, 6 years ago, Rasanen found herself in a small room being questioned after she shared a Bible verse from the book of Romans detailing the Christian understanding of sexuality. After she shared the verse, she was charged with hate speech. I love the hate speech thing. And dragged to the police station for numerous rounds of questions about her beliefs. We covered this here on the podcast. Quote, "It was a very, very absurd and surreal experience," Rasanen said on Thursday when asked by the Daily Wire to describe her experience. She said, "I was sitting in a small room in a police station. I had the Bible on the table, and the police were asking me very theological questions." This is awesome. I would love to have been in that situation. Here, let me just answer anything you may have. She said that she was asked about the meaning of Romans and about the concepts of sin and shame in the Bible. Rasanen said she was brought in for questioning 3 times for a total of 13 hours. Yes, 13 hours, leading to a joke that she was going to have a Bible study at the police station. Yeah, that's exactly what this sounds like. Rasanen said her experience reminded her of stories she heard about Christians being persecuted by the Soviet Union. Quote, "Those stories that I had heard from these communist countries," she said, so I was so shocked that something like that could happen in Finland, in a country that has long roots in Christianity and a rule of law and freedom of speech and faith. After each interrogation, she was given 2 weeks to delete her social media posts and apologize. Well, she refused each time. She said, "I said that I did not apologize because it's not my opinion. It is what the Word of God says. She is a member of the Lutheran Church, as was previously it was previously Finland's Ministry of the Interior, meaning she was she once oversaw the police who interrogated her. That was her job. Her case is now before Finland's top court and comes after she was unanimously acquitted in 2022 and 2023 by lower courts. She faces 2 criminal charges for agitation against a minority group. Agitation. Oh man. If I could get charged with I mean, if that was a thing here in the US, I agitate people all the time. But anyway, Rasanen's case was heard on Thursday by the Finnish Supreme Court, and she was represented by the Alliance Defending Freedom International and criminal defense lawyer Matti Sankamo. In a press call after Thursday's hearing, Sakamo said that it appeared that prosecutors had changed the primary focus of their case against Rasanen. Also on trial is Bishop Johanna Polala, I guess is how you pronounce that, who's a Lutheran church leader, who published a pamphlet in 2004, written by Rasanen, actually, defending the Christian view of marriage as between one man and one woman. Prosecutors have called for them to pull the pamphlet from circulation. Quote, "The Christian message of marriage and sexuality has been taught for 2 millennia, and it should never be considered a crime to speak what Christians have always believed," is what she said at the hearing. Both her and Rasanen face a hefty fine if they lose their case. The charges they face could come with prison time, actually, though prosecutors have not requested that punishment as of yet. Paul Coleman, the executive director of Alliance Defending Freedom International, said that losing the case could make countless other Christian materials considered criminal. Quote, "We've not yet seen a case reach the highest court of a land where actual theological concepts such as sin are considered hate speech and where the words of the Bible are being put on trial," he said on Thursday. And so again, if the prosecutor is successful, then that will set a new low, really, for freedom of expression in Europe and specifically for Christians. A verdict in the case is not expected until actually spring of next year, but Rasanen is hopeful that the result will be a resounding win for freedom of religion and speech. And she says the main question in this whole process is the heart of this trial is the question of whether teaching related to the Bible can be presented and whether it is still permissible to agree with the Bible, even when they contradict the main ideology of the society. And isn't that really the key? When you take an opinion, an ideology, whatever the case may be, when you take that and you have that, and it's against what society is saying is truth, do you have the right to have a differing opinion? Do you have the right to have an opinion that is based on biblical values, on the Bible? Do you have that right? Or do you have to completely be silent if you go against society? And that really is the heart of these type of cases, and we'll keep an eye out on this. Another bit of good news, and this one caught me sideways a little bit. I did not really see this one coming, but it's good news. And Chris Nesi of the New York Post is the one that reported this. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, who has spent more than a decade warning that the world was on the brink of unimaginable peril due to the rising global temperatures, well, now says climate change, quote, will not lead to humanity's demise, unquote, in a stunning reversal. Yeah, Gates at this time he's actually 70 years old, and Gates who has sunk really billions of dollars of his vast fortune into initiatives ostensibly meant to combat global warming, penned a lengthy blog post this week urging a shift away from the doomsday outlook many climate activists have adopted to terrify non-believers into seeing things their way. So it's a scare tactic basically. Quote, although climate change will have serious consequences, particularly for people in the poorest countries, it will not lead to humanity's demise, he wrote. People will be able to live and thrive in most places on Earth for the foreseeable future, unquote. Yeah, now that's a switch for him. Gates, who just 4 years ago authored a book titled "How to Avoid a Climate Disaster," and once said that climate change could be worse than the COVID-19 pandemic, now argues that, quote, we should measure success by our impact on human welfare more than our impact on the global temperature. Whoa. The Control Alt Delete reset is a stark departure from his previous assertions that avoiding a climate disaster will be one of the greatest challenges humans have ever taken on, greater than landing on the moon, greater than eradicating smallpox, even greater than putting a computer on every desk, he said. The centrobillionaires, philanthropists Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has funneled huge sums of cash to companies working on reducing global greenhouse gas emissions, including bankrolling a Mr. Burns-esque technology to dim the sun and redirect its rays out of the atmosphere. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that they've been trying to fund, and where has it gotten us? Absolutely nowhere. He's taking criticism for flying around the globe to trumpet our impending doom to climate change in a $70 million private jet that spews around 450 gallons of fuel per hour. Yeah, a hypocrisy he acknowledges in his post, but assures he offsets his own staggering carbon footprint, quote, with legitimate carbon credits, unquote. So, yeah, well, good for him. Anyway, astonishingly, Gates goes so far as to point out that cold, not heat, is a far greater threat to humanity, writing, surprisingly, no, not for me, but anyway, surprisingly, excessive cold is far deadlier, killing nearly 10 times more people every year than heat does. Well, welcome on board. He even noted some of the ways the obsessive focus on lowering greenhouse gas emissions has negatively impacted the very groups climate alarmists have warned would suffer more due to the rising global temperatures. Quote, a few years ago, the government of one low-income country set out to cut emissions by banning synthetic fertilizers. Farmers' yields plummeted. There was much less food available, and prices skyrocketed, he wrote. Yeah, I mean, welcome aboard. These are all things that we've been saying for how long now? I mean, all the time. Quote, the country was hit by a crisis because the government valued reducing emissions above other important things. Gates said pressure pushed by wealthy shareholders to cease the financing of fossil fuel projects in impoverished but resource-rich nations has had almost no impact on global emissions. Yes, again, welcome to the party. Quote, but it has made it harder for low-income countries to get low-interest loans for power plants that would bring reliable electricity to their homes, schools, and health clinics, he wrote. Climate change is not the biggest threat to the lives and livelihoods of people in poor countries, and it won't be in the future. Wow. I mean, that is a 180. These Bill and Melinda Gates, of course, they're divorced now, but they still have their foundation. I know they're trying to rework some things so they don't have to even be together in the foundation. But anyway, they have given billions of dollars to climate change activists and these groups, and for him to come out and say these things is really a 180 turnaround from where he's been. And so we'll again keep an eye on that. From the Daily Wire, and Zach Jewell, he writes about our next story, and this is kind of interesting. The Trump administration and Japan reached a deal on rare earth minerals on Tuesday and unveiled a list of projects included in a $550 billion investment proposal stemmed from a July trade agreement. A rare earth deal, which President Donald Trump signed alongside Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takanashi, established a mutual stockpiling agreement and stipulates that the United States and Japan will cooperate with international partners to protect the supply chain. And Trump has been pushing a better secure he's been pushing to better secure the rare earth supply chain and cut into China's stronghold over rare earth minerals. China has everybody by the coattails on this. I mean, they supply like 90% of the world's rare earth materials, and not only that, but they also take those and they refine them at like 70% of the world's refinement. So they have a real chip in this, and we are trying to not be so dependent on China. Along with the rare earth deal, the United States and Japan released a list of proposed projects to boost Japanese investment in the U.S. economy. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said at a press conference along with Trump on Tuesday that the proposals are driven by Japanese Strategic Investment Initiative, which was created by Trump tariff policy and by Trump's historic trade agreement with Japan. Lutnick added that the initial investment totals $490 billion, which he called the launch phase. And Bloomberg reported that after the launch phase, more projects would then be considered for the total of $550 billion project. The proposed Japanese investments were a key part of the U.S.-Japanese trade deal agreed upon in July when Trump lowered tariffs on Japan and Japanese auto imports from 27.5% to 15%. And in exchange, Japan agreed to invest $550 billion in the U.S. Well, the two allies announced numerous investment projects spanning energy and crucial minerals, such as artificial intelligence development and things like that. Along the proposed projects is a plan to invest up to $100 billion for the construction of nuclear reactors and small modular reactors in the United States. See, this is something that's very needed, and this is very good news. That proposal would involve the American manufacturing company Westinghouse and include the involvement of Japanese suppliers and operators such as Mitsubishi, Heavy Industries, and Toshiba Group, as well as IHI, according to the Japanese government handout. Another $100 billion energy proposal would build more small modular reactors in the U.S. with some investment from Japanese companies. These are great companies, is what Lutnick said. Many of them household names that you would expect that are going to build infrastructure and improve the national economic security of the United States. But Donald Trump also said that Toyota planned to invest more than $10 billion in U.S. auto parts plants during a speech to U.S. troops in Japan. So again, just more good news, more winning. I don't know if you're tired of winning yet, but that's what seems to be happening here. Other investment proposals mentioned at the time included a $30 billion proposal for Mitsubishi Electric to supply generators, transmissions, and distribution systems, as well as equipment for AI data centers. 15 million proposal included Panasonic supplying energy storage systems and other electronics to contribute to strengthening supply chains in the U.S. So all kinds of really, really good information going on there coming out of Donald Trump's trip to Asia, and of course, we even found out yesterday that with his trip to China, that the tariffs are coming down, the new ones, and that they're working out an agreement with those those rare earth minerals. Again, those rare earth minerals, the deal with that is that they, a lot of those things are crucial for our AI and computer processing and that type of thing. And when we're dependent on China for those type of things, even our weapon systems and things like that use a lot of that. So not good that we're dependent on other people, other countries, and they can hold us hostage in that way. Well, I do have to say that this next story comes with a trigger warning. So you've been warned, okay? President Trump received a massive gold crown from his South Korean hosts on Wednesday before being treated to a dinner including beef patties with ketchup in a nod to his longstanding culinary preferences. Trump, who has eagerly trolled Democrats who accused him of harboring monarchical ambitions, is known for his love of both the precious metal and slathering the tomato-based condiments on well-done meat. yeah. South Korean President Lee Jae-myung presented Trump with the crown. It's huge. If you haven't seen a picture of it, it's massive. And it wasn't. It's not the original one, but it's a replica of the one worn by kings of the historic Kingdom of Silla, shortly after he arrived in the country from the stopover in Japan that we talked about. Lee also gifted Trump with the Grand Order of Mugungawa, I guess is how that's pronounced. South Korea's highest honor is what it is, though, featuring a large medallion with a gold necklace. This is the quote, "It's a beautiful as it can be, possibly be. I'd like to wear it right now," Trump told the host, who said the award recognized Trump's efforts to improve relations with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. A Korean translator told Trump that the enormous pronged crown, meanwhile, was a replica of the largest, most extravagant of the 6 existing crowns from the Silla period. So I guess we say the No Kings people probably not gonna like this. So they might go apoplectic off this one, but we'll see what happens. So let's finish up on a just a really cool story here. Coming out of Australia, Ben Hooper of UPI says that the message in a bottle found during a beach cleanup in Australia turned out to contain letters from 2 World War I soldiers who launched their bottle 109 years earlier. Yeah, it was just found. Deborah Brown says she and her family were cleaning up along the shoreline in Warrenton Beach, when her daughter found a bottle containing letters from Malcolm Alexander Neville and William Kirk Harley, soldiers that were serving in World War I in 1916. Neville's letter shows He came from Wilcoxawat, South Australia, and Brown was able to use Facebook to contact Herbie Neville, who is the soldier's great nephew. See, there is a good thing for Facebook. See that? The elder Neville was 28 years old when he was killed in action in France. And just a few months after writing the message in the bottle is when he was killed in action. Herbie Neville said that he knew of his great uncle Malcolm from stories that he heard from his aunt, who is now 101. Quote, "It's been amazing how much has come to the surface in just a short period of time in World War I." Brown also was able to contact the family members of Harley, who later actually returned home from the war. He didn't die in the war. Quote, "We are all absolutely stunned. There are 5 grandchildren who are all alive," said the granddaughter, Ann Turner. And she said, "We're all in constant contact since it happened, and we just can't believe it. We do very much feel like our grandfather has reached out to us from the grave." So yeah, some really, really cool things happening there. And what they think that happened is that it did wash up onto the beach, maybe even a couple months after it was launched, and then just got buried in the sand, and maybe just now was unburied. So it's probably not been floating around in the ocean this long, but just such a cool story. And I saw pictures of the letters saying, one was addressed to his mom, saying, "Hey, we're actually, things are okay. We're on our way to the war. They feed us really well." So yeah, it was just been kind of a cool feel good story there. I'd love to hear what you think of the stories of the week, and maybe one that you think I should have covered and didn't. Would love to hear from you, and of course you can always do that at uncommonsensepodcast.com. Thank you very much for listening. This podcast is a production of Morganite Communications.